The Philippines has been colonized by Spain at about 300 years ago. It all started with the discovery of the Philippines by Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. It is Ferdinand Magellan who arrived in the Philippines to head a Spanish expedition searching for the Spice Island in 1521. Magellan never completed the journey by himself. He was then killed with an encounter with the natives in the Philippines after having claimed the Philippines is for Spain. Magellan's arrival introduced Christianity in Cebu. It all started with the baptism of King Humabon and Queen Juana of Cebu. However, Magellan's plan to claim the whole Philippines for Spain encountered a stiff resistance from the other natives, particularly from Lapu-Lapu, the chieftain of the neighboring Mactan Island. In what is known as the Battle of Mactan that was fought on April 27, 1521, Magellan and his 100 soldiers fought Lapu-Lapu and his 1,000 warriors. Clearly outnumbered, Magellan and most of his soldiers were killed. The Battle of Mactan, however, did not stop the Spaniards from colonizing the Philippines. It was followed by the voyage of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who was famous for the blood compact with Raja Secatuna of Bohol. In 1565, when Miguel Lopez de Legazpi concluded treaties of friendship with the native chiefs of what is called the Datus, Spain's primary aim and intention in the Philippines was to spread their religion, the Roman Catholicism. There are three main reasons why the Spaniards wanted to spread their power across the world. It is acronymed as the 3 Gs. The first G is for God, which is the conversion of natives to Christianity. The second G is gold, which is the accumulation of wealth and gold. And the last G is glory, which is the supremacy of Spain over Portugal as a superpower. The Spanish conquest eventually wrought fundamental changes in the lives of the native population in the Philippines. The following are the effects of their colonization. The first one is the massive change in the cultural and natural heritage of the Philippines. Much of the rainforests of the country were replaced by agricultural and townscape areas. The forests that became agricultural fields were owned by the Spanish hacienderos with Filipino slaves. The replacement of forests was caused by the growing population of Spanish imperialists and natives and the importation of different crops from the Americas and the Europe. The second one, and probably the most obvious and important impact of Spanish colonization, is the introduction of Roman Catholicism. The new religion paved the way for the clergy to rule and the establishment of various churches. Various accounts have noted that many churches were established on the top of pre-colonial cemeteries, the house of a datu, or a traditional dambana structure. The tactic was used by the Spanish friars to show that the new faith has the power to destroy religions that they deemed lesser that of the European religion. The Spanish colonization process also initiated a tactic to destroy all forms of government that are not inclined to the Spanish crown. Among the notable government destroyed were in Tondo, Manila, Cebu, Panay, Maguindanao, Bigan, Taytay, and Mindoro. The Indio system was also notable, wherein the Spanish were catapulted as the masters of the island while the natives were mere slaves. A few of the Indios, however, were given better privileges compared to those Indio slaves. Nonetheless, they were considered much lesser than the Spanish masters. Lastly, the Spaniards also introduces the Spanish language, which is mostly the basis of the Filipino language today. Though much of the indigenous languages were not abolished, majority of the indigenous scripts fell into the demise. The Spanish conquest brought fundamental changes in the lives of the native population in the Philippines. The Spaniards introduced new customs and a new religion. They brought over new practices and institutions from the earlier colonial experiences in Latin America, and even they chose to retain certain indigenous and social institutions to serve colonial ends. The use of these institutions for purposes alien to Native society transformed them in a profound way. These changes led the Filipinos to have their revolt seeking for freedom and equality. However, we cannot deny the fact that the effects of Spanish colonization is still visible in our society today.